Jenna, we're finally here. I feel like this has been a long time coming.
Oh my gosh, I know. I was vlogging earlier today and I was like, I think I've been meaning to do this like maybe for all year. So I'm happy to finally be on here in December.
But I love when this happens because I feel like I think personally for me, it's perfect timing because I'm like entering back into my YouTube era for 2024
hmm
and like getting back into reprioritizing. So I feel like this ended up being the perfect timing.
I totally agree. I feel like every time that we were talking about filming a whole podcast episode before, I was like not in a good place. So kind of similarly, like I feel like I'm
Perfect.
actually in a good place to like talk about everything and just also like chat and hang out. So thanks
I
for
know.
having me.
Of course. These are my favorite episodes when it's like a friend, like a online friend that I've had for a while. And now I
Yeah.
finally have an excuse to just like dive deep on everything. So I'm
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm
so
excited.
excited. So my like natural curiosity, what I could talk about for hours is YouTube and having a 9 to 5. But I wanted before we get into that, because once you get me started, I will be talking about
You
that in
like can't
circles.
stop. Same.
So I want to talk quickly about running though, because we have so many similarities of like nine
Yes.
to five YouTube, but then also like our new running era. So
hmm
is this something new for you? Like, have you ever ran before?
I would say kind of. I ran like I was a cross country runner in high school.
Okay.
So the most that I ever was used to in my life were 5Ks. Like 3 miles is pretty normal to me. And then when I first started college, maybe I was running maximum like 4 miles, which then like four was really long. So I was doing that in college, totally stopped. And then after college, I did Orange Theory and I just wasn't really running at all except for that. And then I wasn't running really until my boyfriend's friend said that he was signing up for the Cherry Blossom 10 miler in 2023 this year. And I just was like, okay, I guess if you're doing it and my boyfriend's signing up for it, why not? It's supposed to be like a really beautiful run. And then that's like what started everything because I was like, okay, 10 miles is like a lot more than I've ever done. I should actually maybe train for this a little bit. And then, like, what is it? 10 months later, I've done two half marathons. So that's kind of like how I got back into running.
You caught the bug.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because
There's
I
nothing
feel
like
the
it.
same. I know. Because, okay, so my fiance has been running marathons for like a few years now.
hmm
And forever he was like, I just want to be able to like go on a run with my girlfriends. Like, that's all I want. And I've just continuously
Oh,
been like,
interesting.
not my thing, not my thing. Get over it. Like, I'll do any other workout with you. Like, he would go for runs with me. And I, under a mile in, was like, I just can't do it. And then I don't know what happened, but eventually, same as you, I just got inspired and like he was doing the Philly Marathon and I'm going to be there anyway. And the day before was a half. So I was like, you
hmm
know what? Why don't I just sign up? Because my friend Grace came on my podcast and she was like, you just need like a date that scares you and
hmm
something to work towards. Cause otherwise you go for a run and you're just like, I can't do it. And you stop.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Once I did it, I was just like, holy shit. Like you proved to yourself that if you can actually stick to a training plan and a commitment, you can accomplish anything. And then after that, you're like, I want to do it a little faster. I want to do this race. I want to do
hmm
this city. So I have fully caught the bug too.
I know. It's just like amazing. Well, okay, first off, congratulations on your engagement. I
Oh,
watched
thank
that whole
you.
thing and I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank you.
Um, but also, secondly, I think it's so important to have people in your life that really see your potential before you probably see it in yourself. Because I also would have never signed up for anything if it weren't for my like Orange Theory coach saying you should do a half marathon, or Thomas, my partner, saying, "Yeah, just let's do this 10 miler. It's nothing. We can do it." And so I think if I hadn't seen that support and like inspiration from others, I don't think I really could have ever seen it in myself. But then totally the same. I knew I had something to work towards. And then I was like, okay, every single run felt a little bit easier. It felt like more attainable. And then once you feel like you're getting closer, you just like want to keep going. And oh my gosh, it's just there's nothing like the feeling too of like finishing a run.
I
So
know.
I just love it.
You're so right though. Well, number one, you're so right about that because I thought every run, like as the weeks continued and they got longer, I thought it
hmm
would be more intimidating and harder. But you're right. As you continue on and you show yourself you can do it, it actually almost gets more fun and like a little bit
Yeah.
easier instead of harder. But you're so right in that I don't think I ever would have tried running if Ethan wasn't like, you could literally run a half marathon tomorrow. Like he's like,
Yeah.
you could
Right.
literally do it tomorrow. Like, yes, go train, but like you could go run 5 miles, you just don't want to. And like having someone
Exactly.
that says that is so helpful, but also like I think that's why I love posting about it online because I personally couldn't find anyone that started from nothing. Like I
Mhm.
most people honestly say what you said, like, "Oh, I used to do cross country," or "I used to
Right.
be a college athlete," whatever it was, and I really it was hard to find anyone that just started with, like, "I haven't done a mile in my life, and now I'm doing a half marathon," so that's why I love sharing about it. Because if you don't have someone in your life, like, you can
Mhm.
turn to the internet, which is great.
Oh my gosh, totally. No, and it's been so fun watching, like, your journey on TikTok of, like, starting from nothing and then actually getting to race
Crazy.
day. It was just so cool to watch, and also I feel like running, unlike anything else I've ever really tried, has really not built my confidence the way that running has too.
I
Like,
know.
even if I ran what some people would call slow, like, it was still 10 miles. Like, that is so freaking long in general, and just the fact that you can do it once makes you feel like, "Oh my gosh, I actually accomplished this." Like, you kind of feel that confidence being built, and so just feeling like, there was nothing healthier to work on myself than running, at least, like, at the time right now. I just like, why not? Like, why would I not continue?
Totally, that's how I feel. I'm like, I don't wanna lose it, but it's
Yeah.
also because it's different than if you're lifting and all of a sudden you lift a heavier weight. That is honestly more physical. I feel like a
Mhm.
lot of running is mental, and it makes you realize, like, "Oh, I
Mhm.
actually can do hard things."
Oh my gosh, no, I completely agree, and also probably similar to, like, your experience, but once I realized that running long didn't mean necessarily running fast, it just meant running at all, like, whatever pace felt like running to you, even if it was jogging, like, jogging is still running, and then once I realized that most of my longer ones would feel easy, I was like, "I can listen to a podcast, I can, like, listen to an audiobook," that's a new thing I'm into, and either way, it's just like a break from everything, and I could just go on a run and it's still working on myself. Like it feels productive, but so good at the same time.
I love that. I totally agree. And well, I can't get on the podcast train yet. I'm like, I still need
Really? That's mostly what I do.
oh, real I'm shocked by it because I'm such a podcast girl and I'm not a music
Mm,
person. Like I'm
mhm.
podcast all the way, but something about running, I'm like, I'm paying too much attention. I don't want to hear my breath. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm listening to a podcast, like I'm well aware of like my feet stomping and my breath. I need like full distraction. But I'm curious if you had a similar experience to me in terms of I felt like for so long, all of my goals were career oriented. And like I was always into wellness and fitness and workout classes and whatnot. But like I think it was really good for me, whether I realized it or not, and why I want to continue it. Having something with an end goal that wasn't like follower based or
Mhm.
just like career based and something that like with YouTube it's such a long game that it's like and a lot of it's I mean a lot of it's in your control but a lot of it is
Yeah.
also what's in your control still takes a very long time to get to where you want to be and I think having something that was just like me a training schedule if I commit to this training schedule I will be done on this date and I will finish
Mhm.
it and feel accomplished and strong and confident and I think I really needed something outside of career social media to fulfill that. I'm curious if you had, like, a similar experience.
No, I totally had a similar experience. I felt like for me, I was lacking like enrichment in my life because I have my job, which is like a corporate I work in accounting, but I'm not an accountant. I work like in operations. So I have something that's very like kind of standard and then I have my creative job and that like makes me very creative, but I felt like I was lacking just something good for me outside of all of that. And I felt like running and reading were two things that I picked up this year that I've really never kind of dove into ever since high school and college that I felt like I was taking care of myself in a way that was beyond my career. It was really just about enriching, I think, more than anything. Because I can't really say, no matter how much time I put into my careers, like, is it really enriching me in the way that just makes me like happier and healthier and more whole? It makes me feel accomplished, but not in the way that I feel like a good like exercise does or a good book, you know?
Well, it's also, like, not based on exterior or external
Mhm.
validation. Like, it's not, your boss telling you, "You did great," or getting a promotion, or getting a raise, or hitting a new subscriber count, getting a brand deal, like, eh, a good comment. Like, that's all such
So true.
external validation where knowing that you stuck to this training plan and felt stronger and more confident along the way, and it gave you, like, so much meditative time almost to yourself, but
Mhm.
then, like, being able to cross the finish line and be like, "I did that, like, just
Yeah.
me. No one else can tell me if it was good or bad or whatever, like, I
Mhm.
did that." I think I'm like, I think every social media person should take up running for that reason, because I don't think I realized until I was in it or almost out of it that I really needed something to feel accomplished with myself and fulfilled outside of all of the social media facade and career type of stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree. I was just talking to Thomas about like he was like, "I feel like running is like, is it that we're at the age where everyone's just getting into running because we're like yearning something to make us feel more healthy, or is it actually just like really trending?" And I'm like, I feel like it's kind of both. Like people want to be healthier, they want to do something that's outside probably of social media because we're always on it no matter what. And if I'm on even if I'm filming for a run, like if I'm filming a TikTok or something, it's not like I can actually scroll on running. So just it gets me time off of consuming so much social media in that way. But then again, I do listen to podcasts, so who really knows? But I feel like running is just I love that everyone's into it. It makes me like happy
I think it's
and it's just
trending.
nice.
I do think
Yeah.
it's trending. I think, like, Run
Yeah.
Talk has made it a thing, but I think then once you
Oh yeah.
try it, like, I think it's trending, which is making people try it, and then, like, training
Mhm.
for a race is kind of trendy, but then once you do that, it opens your eyes up to all of the other benefits and even just, like, getting me outside. Like, I would, like, rush
Oh
to a
my god,
workout
yeah.
class, have overstimulation in a workout class, and then rush home and work, and this is just it kind of forces you to, especially in New York City, like, I need to do something outside with just myself that's meditative and, like,
Mhm.
without the screens and the hustle and bustle. So I think it's trending, but then people are finding fulfillment through it, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. It's like it's trending and then they're like, "Wait, this is actually like pretty
Right.
good for my life. Like maybe I should keep this up."
Yeah, and it's, like, something that you just don't get till you're in it. So, I wanna pivot a little more into social media
Okay.
on that note, though, like,
Yeah.
you and I both are in a 9 to 5 and YouTube, and I actually envy you because and I'm curious if this is,
Really?
like, intentional. I suffer from being multi-passionate, and so, like, I you have, like, 9 to 5, and then I feel like you've really zoned in on YouTube, the one platform, which is, like, a beast and a production, and, like, really, I wish I could just be like YouTube and 9 to 5. Somewhere along the way during COVID, I ended up starting a podcast and falling in love with that too, and then there's TikTok and Instagram and all the things, but I feel like you've done a really great job of just staying focused on, like, this is my 9 to 5 job, and then outside of that, it's YouTube, and then, like, my relationships, and that's it. And I feel like you or and now running, but, like, I feel like you
Mhm.
really have stayed very much focused on it. Is it because you're just super passionate about YouTube, or is that, like, an intentional choice?
Thank you. Is it okay, well, yes, I am super, super passionate about YouTube, but I think that it's just in my personality to be a very committed person in general. And I'm very like, if I decide something or if I set my mind to something, I will just really go all in and I make decisions not lightly, I guess, for that reason. So ever since I started my channel, I just kind of like, I know it's the one thing in my life, truly the one thing in my life that I feel like I see some sort of purpose in. And I feel like with every video that I make, I see my community growing. I see myself getting better as a creator in all different areas of making videos. And so I feel like it's the one thing that I see the most potential in myself in. And so I've just gone all in on YouTube the last 3 years, really, because I feel like I see that in myself, and it's always been such a dream of mine to be that person on YouTube where I'm making videos twice a week consistently. And YouTube was really the first thing that I saw the most potential in for myself. And so I feel like since I'm just so committing as a person, I've always kept up with it. So I guess you could say it's intentional, but I also feel like it's where I can best represent myself and who I am while building a brand more so than any other platform I've ever created on. So I think that's part of what keeps me on YouTube more than anything is because it's the most comfortable platform for me, but I also feel like it's the space where I can show a lot of who I am, what value I can give to others, and also kind of build a brand and business up that more than I think other platforms. So I appreciate you acknowledging that. It's really nice. It's definitely something that it's so hard to keep up with, but I just tell myself like it's not my routine unless I have 2 videos that week. So or
Yeah.
besides the one video I take off a month.
Oh, I have so many more compliments where that came from, so don't
Oh,
worry.
no.
But I really feel that so much because I that was me for I wanna say I started 5 years ago, so, like, 4 years, and then when I went back into my full-time job a year ago, it
Mhm.
was kind of this point of, like, I almost felt like I was my YouTube channel was becoming like a pressure cooker for me, and it was like I got very burnt out from it, which is not the space I
Totally
wanna
get that.
create from. So I was really going all in on my full-time job. It just, like, accidentally, it became all consuming, and so I was like, "Okay, I still wanna stay consistent with YouTube," so I just kinda, like, have been throwing vlogs up. But I got to
Mhm.
this point where I'm like, I miss how fulfilled I felt from, like, this purpose, strategy, and intention and production that comes from YouTube. To your point, most people are very into, like, the instant gratification and, like, easy growth strategy of TikTok, I feel like, these days, and I kind of got in my head a little bit over the last year of how people are always saying, like, just don't put any strategy behind it, like, be yourself,
Right.
like, throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks, that's how you get
Right.
successful, and I was like, "Oh, like, maybe I'm too strategic, maybe I'm too whatever," but, like, I'm kind of coming to this point where I'm realizing, first of all, YouTube requires a lot more strategy, like, there's so much more involved in it than other platforms,
Mhm.
but second of all, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a true why and a message and being strategic about how you roll that out and like
Mhm.
producing valuable content. And I think you can still be authentic and strategic. And I just think
Yes.
it's actually, I feel like a better word is like being intentional. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
strategic, it's just like being intentional. And I think you do that really well in terms of like you have these
Thank
plan.
you.
You're welcome. Like you do like the plan with me videos, for example,
Mhm.
and you don't put on this like YouTubey voice, if that makes sense. Like,
I hope I don't. I try really hard to, like, actually be conversational when I'm filming, but it's hard.
well, it's hard because you're also like, I don't wanna bore anyone by just sitting here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
also there is an art to like you need to have some energy to your voice, but you also wanna be your fully yourself, and I think you do a
Mhm.
really good job of keeping it conversational and whatnot, but I'm curious, like, because as I'm rolling into the next year, I actually think because most
Mhm.
people are focusing on TikTok and don't have the patience and, like, passion that maybe
Mhm.
me or you do to, like, stick with something like YouTube for years, I'm seeing less creation on YouTube because of that, and I actually
Mhm.
am realizing I think that's even more opportunity for new creators or for current creators to, like, come in and do something unique or creative and, like, almost blow up. Like, I feel like there's less traffic on YouTube than ever, and I don't
Yeah.
think it's going anywhere, so I think it's actually an opportunity.
I totally do not feel that way, if anything. But that's the thing. I think TikTok and like consuming short form content is so different than even just consuming long form. With short form, you want them to get straight to the point. You want to just keep their attention span because that's all it is. It's just our short attention spans going over one piece after another for content. And so it's so hard, I think, to build a brand based off of maybe if you're a lifestyle platform like me, or not platform, but a lifestyle creator where I want them to see my personality. I just found it so hard to do that on TikTok.
I
And
agree.
so YouTube, right? So YouTube kind of makes that easier because I can speak, and maybe I can incorporate areas of where short form thrives with shorter cuts or showing something a little bit more like attention grabbing, but with putting my personality in that. I think there's such an opportunity to do that on YouTube because YouTube is where people will hang on to you. But I think TikTok is where people probably like 100 times more people will consume you and see you, but maybe they don't know you. And I've always just wanted to like create a community. I want people to know me
Me
because
too.
I want to like spread, I don't know, like friendship and like happy things and work life balance. That's like my hugest passion when it comes to my content. I want to spread the ability to create work life balance with our lives, no matter how busy it can be. So I think you should totally just go all in on YouTube. But I think that the plan with me videos is what helps me the most because what you
Really?
were saying before, yeah, oh yeah, because with what you were saying before with feeling burnt out about just kind of not really knowing what to do with your YouTube videos and then with your YouTube videos, and then just you're like not really sure and you just had to create something. I did that for all of 2021, 2022, had no plan. I would just say, I'm just going to vlog my life because they want to see hopefully what I'm doing at all. And me just sharing my life is my brand. But for some reason, it led me to just be in chaos all the time because I had no
Yeah.
idea what I was filming. I had to decide on the spot. I had to almost like create the value as I was filming. And that made it more hard for me. It made it a lot more stressful to edit the video and say, is this part of my brand? Because I would come to a point where I'm like, I don't even know what my brand is anymore. I am not like preparing myself anymore for success. So doing those plan with me videos, I think like monthly resets is what a lot of people do where they talk about like monthly favorites, their budget, their goals. But for me personally, I was like, this is going to be strictly plan with me because I can set myself up for success if I have an idea of what I want to film, just maybe like a title or an overall kind of idea or thought. And I can make sure it aligns with what value I want to give out as a brand or a person or creator with every video. And then just kind of having that very, very light preparation and outline, I feel like is what made me totally not burn out for the first time ever with content creation this year. So doing the monthly series was something that was also like a really fun challenge for me because I've never done that before for Plan With Me's. But I feel like in doing that, it just set me up to feel more comfortable posting so consistently because I had an idea already with the month ahead what it was going to do or what
Yes.
it was going to be.
I used to be it's funny, I'm like the opposite. I used to be so on top of it, and I had a
Really?
running list of ideas. My why was so clear, and it was like, I am editing it this day, I'm posting it this day, or whatever it might be. And then
Yeah.
naturally, when when a 9 to 5 gets all consuming, you're like,
Yes.
shit, I don't have a video this week. Let me just vlog.
Right.
And
Mhm.
then almost that fulfillment kind of goes away because you're just
Mhm.
throwing shit up because you made this commitment, but like
Right.
you're not really fostering a community or providing value anymore. And I think what most YouTubers have in common that stick with it for as long as we have is that we're actually doing it to fulfill a purpose and create like engaged community. So
Mhm.
because I want to get back into I've already like been getting back into that and like market research,
I
coming up
know,
with
I've
my
been
video
seeing.
ideas. It's so fun. Like
Mhm.
I used to
It
love
is.
finding the new creators in my space and like almost studying not to mimic but like out of curiosity like what's a gap in the market or like what
Mhm.
is my niche's audience gravitating towards things like that.
Right. Like, how is it unique?
Totally, which that's like part of why I love YouTube as opposed to TikTok or Instagram. Just throw like I actually love that part of it. So I'm
Mhm.
curious with you though, how do you so I guess it's these plan with me videos just every month. Like how are you? Can you talk more about how you're organizing with your 9 to 5 job? What is
Mhm.
your process? So every month you kind of look at your Notion or your calendar and you plan 4 videos coming up and like run us through kind of your how are you planning for YouTube every month?
Yes. Ooh, I love this question. I've never actually spoken to it, but
Nice.
I guess like as intentionally as possible, I know that the big thing that I started in 2023 was my Work to Live Diaries series on YouTube because
Love.
thank you. I love it. It's like
I think
my
it's so smart.
baby.
You wanna know why I think it's so smart? Because it's a way of vlogging with intention. It's not just like
Yes.
a week in my life, random person, you know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
it's just more intentional and niche, but it's still vlogging.
Yes,
So
exactly.
smart.
And since I know that I don't intend, at least for the next like probably 10 years, ever quitting my job for content creation,
Really?
having a
10 years?
job. Probably. I don't even
Wow.
know. Not for the foreseeable long, long future. But
Okay.
since I know that at least doing my job, having a job is going to be a part of my life no matter what. And I think that like the all time universal thing is like, how do I make time for everything in my life? I was like, I'm going to incorporate something healthy, like work to live mindset, where yes, we're working so hard, we're working so many hours, but that the point is that we're giving ourselves a life that we want to live and we're making time for the passions, the like the pleasures in life that are beyond our jobs. So having that series and starting it this year, that's really become the bulk of my content just because I feel so passionately about showcasing, even if it's not like a theme. So sometimes I'll do work to live diaries, how I maintain my health and fitness, or work to live diaries, how I balance having a YouTube channel with a full-time job or something of that sort. I'll do that most of the time, or I'll just showcase a week in my life during Work to Live Diaries. So it's during Monday through Friday. And I think just documenting and talking through my daily average life has become like this thing that's so important to me because everyone I don't even know how to explain it. I just think it's become such a bulk of my brand that I want that to be honestly like 60 to 75% of my videos. So in the beginning of the month, I'll think, okay, what do I want Work to Live Diaries to look like this month? Most likely it'll just be like, come along the work week with me. Maybe I'll talk about like goals, something related to your job, or I'll talk about something about balance and incorporate that into the vlog. I'll spread those out throughout the month. And then I'll do my monthly plan with me always at the beginning or end of the month, depending on how good I am about planning it. And then that usually gives me maybe around like one or two videos open. One of them is always a break because I think something, which is something new that I did in 2023, was that one video every single month in my schedule I'll take off fully to just either catch up on sleep, catch up with friends, or just have a break in general, allow myself kind of like the creative break to come back. And then really it really just leaves one extra video for hopefully something outside of the box that I've never really tried before just to challenge myself creatively. So I did like a apartment hunting video, 10 tips for long distance running video, something that's not Work to Live Diaries that, or maybe it's like a weekend reset, just something not Work to Live Diaries that is either a challenge for me or something I've never done before or maybe a sit down video just because I always do vlogs. So that's really like my secret formula. It's not really anything crazy. It's just that I have my series, which is what I know will keep me long lasting for however long, and then something challenging, planning, and then a break. That's how once you think about it that way, I think it's really simple to plan out my content because I know that that's like my lifestyle at the end of the day. It's really just working, running, sleeping, and
Yeah.
taking a break.
And are you outsourcing anything? I feel like you don't outsource anything.
I don't outsource anything just because I don't think I guess in my standards, like big enough to outsource anything yet. And I think that if I can have the time and make the time, then I'll just do it all myself. But it's actually something I'm kind of considering because in 2024, I'm adding a huge new goal of like actually trying to be conversational and learning the Korean language because I'm Korean, but I don't know
Oh,
how to speak it at all. And that requires a lot of time and dedication. So
yeah.
I'm like, okay, I need to give somehow. So
Well, I have
maybe I'll
some good
start outsourcing
editors.
next
I
year.
have some good
Really?
editors for you. Yeah, because I edit all day long for work. Like that is my full-time
Oh
job.
my gosh, yeah. So then it's like
So
jumping from the same thing.
so I try to edit my vlogs. Recently, I go in ebbs and flows. I try to edit my vlogs just because 'cause they're easy. It's a kind of a waste of money to hire someone to do that, and I get to put my own personal touch on it. But
Right.
anything more complicated than that, I try to outsource because 'cause I'm editing all day and I just end up not staying on top of it. But so
Mhm.
I have people for you if you decide that you
Ooh.
want an editor. Um, but okay, so then is there a certain day of the week or like flow that you have for when you're editing, or is it whenever you can squeeze it in?
It's literally whenever I can squeeze it in,
Okay.
like, every single day. So that's why I really highly, highly prioritize morning workouts because I find that I have the most time to edit after work because it's like, 5 to whenever I go to sleep. That could be I mean, if I'm healthy about it, it should be, like, maximum 6 hours if I wanna sleep at, like, 11. So if I could just spend most of that time editing and working or editing and eating, and then I can work out before work, maybe from like 7 to 8:30 or something like that, then it just allows me so much time. So I usually edit at night after work, or if I like haven't been that good, then I'll sacrifice the workout to finish editing
Yeah.
before work. But it's literally just it's like all I think about every day. Like, when do I have time to edit? When can I make time to edit? Because it's truly a part of just like my everyday brain.
You're also a great editor. Like, I feel
Thank
like part
you.
of you must not want to give
You
that
think
creative
so?
control over to someone else.
For sure, yeah. I mean, that's like the joy really of making YouTube videos, and that's what I feel like is so different from TikTok for me because I don't edit my TikTok too much. I just make it very simple,
Yeah.
voiceovery, fun stuff. But I feel like what makes me really creative and really proud of the finished product is when I do all of the like fun fonts and music and timing and stuff on my long form. So I've been trying to level it up too a lot this year. So I appreciate the compliment. I've been
I mean,
really
of
like
course.
trying.
No, I because I literally edit all day long, so I can tell when someone
It's hard.
It's really hard, and I wish one day if when I'm not editing as my full-time job, I would love to, like, lean into it even more. But okay, I have so many questions for you on this, so I'm just gonna keep, like, shooting them off.
Okay.
Okay, so you're saying you're editing, like, is it's, like, every night? So
Yeah.
okay, so you live with Thomas.
Mhm.
How do you navigate giving that the love and attention it needs at night, like, after the full workday, and also, like, filming your sit-down videos or whatever you're filming around someone else's schedule and when they're home and
Space.
whatnot, yeah.
Mhm.
'Cause
Yeah,
I like, the obviously, I also live with my fiancé, so it's
yeah.
something that you can't ignore. Because I lived alone before, and there's for sure a difference.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it's really challenging. I will say that I think part of what makes it easier for me to always kind of be editing and in a way working all the time is that Thomas is a second year medical student. So similarly, he's always, I think he could say the same thing. He feels bad that he's always studying and like has to study all the time.
Okay.
So a lot of times we'll either work together, but something that really helps us be present in our relationship and focus on our relationship is making sure that we have our meals one-on-one together, no phones, no filming. If I film something, it's just like the beginning and then we cut it and just like actually spend that time presently together. And and I think that when we have conversations, we try our best to not be present with something else. Like he tries not to think about school or I try not to be on my phone if we're talking. But I think just being cognizant of when we need to be present with each other so that we're not just like coexisting. It was a huge adjustment. Like the first year we lived together fully, it was really hard. I felt like we were fighting a lot because we just couldn't figure out how to make time for being present because we felt like we were together all the time. But I think that once you live together for a little bit longer, you start to prioritize that present one-on-one, like focus on each other time. Just even if it's in a small pocket of the day, at least it felt like something valuable that if I just have quality time at some point with him every day, then I'm happy because we're both really busy. We're both always doing something for ourselves, him studying or me editing. So I think that if he got off work, like I think we have similar lifestyles in that way, I guess. I think that if he didn't have medical school, and he was just getting off work at 5 p.m. and then wanted to spend so much present time with me where I had to edit, I think that would be really hard in our relationship. And I think we would have to have a conversation on truly how to make it work for both of us. So I think that it's really hard, but we just really try to make sure at least to have dinner every single day together. And if it's not dinner, like if I have a social plan or something, then I'll figure out some other time that day to like really be present with him because it is really important and it like makes me just as happy as like anything else.
Yeah. No,
So
that's good
yeah, it's
advice.
hard.
That's good advice because I unintentionally do the same thing where it's like our entire days are go, 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 especially in New York
Yeah.
City. And I have, I work
Oh
till
my God, I
7 and
bet.
then I also want to edit and do all this other stuff. So I think we're the same exact way where it's like if we're cooking and eating dinner together every single
Hmm.
night, it's like we're not working through dinner. We're talking about our
Right.
day. Even if we're watching a show together, it's like that's our time together. If I have to edit or
Hmm.
do something after, I do it. But I think that's really good advice. It's like just at least carve out that time together. But
For
then
sure.
the second part is like, is it ever a struggle? You want to film YouTube videos one day or whatever, and it's his space too? Or is it also easier because he's a student?
I think that it got easier in this apartment because now his desk is in the bedroom, but in my old apartment, our desks were next to each other because it was kind of the only way that we could fit two desks in
I
one
remember
space.
that
Yeah, I
reading
like
your
loved it
blogs.
at first, and then I was like, I actually think this kind of sucks because there's no like privacy for when someone really needs to just like lock in. So I try my best to make sure that if I'm filming, it's just me in the frame. Even a lot of the times, like if I'm filming on a table, he'll be sitting next to me, but he's not in it. So he doesn't feel like it's an invasion of his space or privacy because he knows that he's not in the shot. But so I try my best to be mindful of that just so that he's still comfortable and this is our space and he understands that like I have to film 100% of our space, but I'll make it my space when I'm filming so that I can give him that privacy that he deserves.
Right. And you'll do the sit down content just when he's like not home
For
or,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Okay. Now I wanna get more into, like, cultivating community. I feel like you've done a really great job of having a super engaged audience, and I think, obviously, that's attributed to being super consistent. You show your
Mhm.
life in a way that it's not just, like, day in my life. It's as we spoke about, like, 9 to 5, work to live diaries. There's a real message
Mhm.
behind it.
Mhm.
Can you talk about that intention behind everything you create and how that cultivates an engaged community and how you make sure that you're actually building community and not just like numbers on a screen?
Yes, absolutely. I think that it's a lot easier, honestly, to build community when YouTube is not your full-fledged job, just because you know that you're not depending on the views, the AdSense. You're not really depending on it really for anything other than just simply creating content and hopefully reaching some sort of audience. So that was something that was on my mind for sure when I started my channel. I was like, this is honestly an opportunity that I have a job pursuing this passion because it allows me to just create a good foundation for creating a community. And so that was the first part. Secondly, I really thought about myself as a brand. I think Tess Barclay, she talks about this all the time on her podcast, but so much of your personality and like your emotions and just you as a human being becomes for some reason like a brand. And that's just such a weird concept to think about. But for me, I kind of saw it as I'm not going to really sugarcoat anything. I'm going to either be inspirational in the way that I want to give value on how to create work life balance, or I'm just going to talk about how hard it is and be vulnerable and kind of not be afraid to share those hard times, or if I'm struggling or if I'm having a hard time. I really wanted to balance as a creator both of those things because I think that will humanize me as a creator and I don't make things and then I'm not making things seem as like pretty or perfect. I think I do in my editing just because I like that style. But when it comes to me speaking, I won't actually edit much of it other than cuts because I just want someone to really feel like they're talking to me and that they can see my personality, whether it's I'm in a good mood or if I'm in a bad mood. And I think that I've been really fortunate to be in a better mood for 2023 because I'm like setting myself up a better. But in 2022, I had so many, like, I can't watch any of those videos because I was in such a bad place personally. Like, all my friends moved. I was, like, honestly really upset about it. I was in therapy. And so I would talk about that all the time about my therapy journey or trying my best to be reflective if it was a slightly kind of negative topic, to not be completely depressing. But I would talk about it a lot, and I feel like having that and asking for comments too, like me wanting to create those connections and just saying it is what hopefully encouraged people to actually comment at the end of the day and engage with me. So it is all intentional in the way that of course, I want everyone to like the video and comment it. I won't always ask them to, and I think that I kind of like that I don't ask them to because I want someone to feel inclined themselves to engage with me. So I just really hope my best that me putting myself out there in as authentic of a way as possible, whether it's the good times, the bad times, or the hard times, it will create that connection on its own. But I think that's kind of created like a slower burn for me with my channel. I struggle a lot with comparison. And I feel like a lot of the creators that I met at the time that I was starting out, they've all gotten to like 70, 100, 100 plus K
Really?
subscribers. And I'm still at like 30, which is so big, but why does it feel so small? And then it makes me like question everything. But then I tell myself, I'm just putting myself out there as who I am. And if it leads to one person commenting or one person DMing me that I've helped them, that's why I'm making videos, not for the number that's so easy to get defined by, but I'm there for the community. And I hope that that shows no matter how long it takes.
Totally, and I think what really resonated just now is something I told you I've been doing, like, some new market research, like, I have not done that
Hmm.
all year, and just, like, getting more into the YouTube verse and seeing what's resonating, and I think that's something that I also think about a lot is, like, I never wanna come on here as, like, an expert. Like, yes,
Right.
I healed my stomach issues or like, I
Hmm.
tried these workout classes, but I'm not coming on as the expert. Like, I bring on experts or I tell you I tried this as someone that's like you. So it's like, I'll do the
Hmm.
research for you and give you the information, but I'm not claiming to be the expert on this, and I
Right.
want to be speaking from personal experience and relatability, and I think that it's pairing like providing value with also feeling connection and
Mhm.
relatability in that sense by like sharing your personal experience with because there's so many people on the internet that provide value through being like an expert in a certain field, but I think you're
Mhm.
right. What creates a really engaged community is pairing it with like that personal experience, and you're providing value through connection and like
Mhm.
personal what your personal takeaways rather than like here's how you become the most confident. I don't know, like those like
Yeah, the
ex-
how-tos.
exactly. And like
Mhm.
I think it's for 2024, I'm like, how about we say how I instead of how to? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But because I struggled
Yes.
with that because I'm like, I don't want it to be a me platform, but I think it makes it more personal. Like, oh, this is something I actually did, and I'm happy to share the story
Mhm.
with you. Maybe you could take something away from it rather than here's how you're gonna make
Mhm.
$1 million in a month, or like those kinds of
It's
videos.
so hard because, like, the second thing that you said is probably what performs better, like, it's probably what will grab more people because they're like, "Oh my god, me? Like, here's how I can do it."
Yeah,
But I just have to ground myself and tell myself that's not the type of creator that I am, and there's nothing wrong with being that other kind. It's just that for me, I wanna be the creator that's just like you said, like, how I'm doing this, and this is what's working for me, and if someone wants to try it, then you can join the family, but if
yeah.
not, then maybe another time, or maybe you'll find me another time kind of thing.
So I know that we all, because what you just said hit so hard, where it's like, but like the comparison thing, and
Yeah.
I think also it's you get used to a certain number, and then when you're not seeing it increase, you're more just burnt out from like how much you're putting into this and not seeing that like success metric grow.
Mhm.
So I understand that, but from my perspective, I'm like, I feel like you've grown such a loyal, amazing community, and you have grown so much. So I'm curious.
Thanks,
Maybe
that means
this
a
will
lot to me.
yeah, this might give you a little confidence boost, but, like, but my question was gonna be before you said that was, like, what would you attribute to your growth? It could be
Oof.
actual videos, it could be, like, whatever it is, like,
Mhm.
what would you say? And then pairing with that, like, advice for aspiring YouTubers or YouTubers like myself who are like, "I'm ready to have a new strategy, intention, whatever next year." Like, what's your advice for 2024?
Man, that's so hard because I feel like, and I think this is honest, like one of the worst answers, but a lot of it is so much of timing and in a way, just having the right video out at the right time and luck in that way. I think some people really do strategize that luck, but my biggest video ever on YouTube is just a work from home setup tour. And it's like the worst setup ever because I think there were no setups at the time because it was 2020 or early 2021. And there just weren't many people working from home up until that point searching it. So I think that I
No,
think that
this is
it's
good
so
advice.
hard.
No,
Yeah,
that I
I
think
think
that's
it's
really
like
good advice, paying attention to the timing and
yes.
like, what's actually going on that's unique right now in this month, in this what I like, I actually think that's really smart advice.
Thanks. Yeah, I think I should take that advice more myself. Like, how can you kind of create the most luck opportunity, I guess, for yourself? That's a really, I think, exhausting thing to do though, to strategize. But I think just coupling maybe if you want to do things that are trending, if it's like seasonal content or if you're a runner and you want to make more running content, putting your personality, this is what Tess says all the time, like no one can actually change who you are. And so if you can put your unique self in anything that's trending, anything that feels oversaturated, then it will stick because there is no one like you. And so I feel like for anyone that's either starting or restarting or just refreshing anything, just being mindful of people will find me. This is something that someone could find, whether it's searchable or
Right.
relatable or a catchy title or a cool looking thumbnail. But what will keep them around is me. And at least I think that's more for lifestyle creators. So I think just kind of being grounded in like, how can I be intentional and try my best to be smart, but also remind myself that I am who I am and I need that to show in the video too, then that's why like short form is so hard for me because I feel like it's hard for me to do that. So yeah, that's why YouTube is like my baby. It's where I can like show myself a little bit more.
I agree. That's why I love YouTube and podcasting. It's like I feel like with longer form content, I can fully give the whole picture and be myself and not feel like I have to, how do I make this as quick and snappy and
Mhm.
visually appealing as possible in 30 seconds? Like so many people, it's funny. I got coffee with my friend Jordana. She's the Daily Schwitz on TikTok, and she
Mhm.
was saying, I am incapable of, she tried a podcast, she's tried YouTube, and she's like, I cannot do long form content. She's like, I feel like I'm most myself on
Oh,
TikTok
that's so
because
interesting.
I know. She was like, I feel like I'm most myself on TikTok because I just put the camera up like in
Oh,
sweats or whatever. And I just, she makes like 3-minute get ready with me. So I guess
oh,
that makes
love
a little
that.
more sense.
Yeah.
But she's like, I don't know what it is. I couldn't be myself. I couldn't do long form content. So it's funny. I don't really understand that, but I think that's why I'm kind of in the space of like, know your lane. Like,
Mhm.
and that sounds wrong, but I just mean like, we don't all have to be everywhere. It's like, I love that
Yes,
she
for
tried
sure.
out podcasting and she was like, this is not my platform. Chapter closed. It's like, we don't, it's like, understand what works best for you and then just dive into that. And I think that's like full circle why I'm like, I will always come back to YouTube, even if I slack off a little bit on it, because it's my baby. It's what I started with. It's, oh, I love it because I think similarly to you, it's like I love the creative process and the production around it too. I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
it pairs like the passion for production, my passion for wellness, and my passion for hosting and on camera work, like all into one
Mhm.
thing. And any other platform like TikTok or whatever, it's kind of just, I don't know. That's like more for fun, but like in terms of purpose and
Right.
passion, all roads lead back to YouTube, which I feel like we relate a lot on.
For sure. Oh my gosh, but Jen, I really love your short form content. I feel like you do
Thank
a really
you.
good job of showing your personality on your short form vlogs. So I
Thank
think you're someone
you.
that really does both well. I just do like voiceovers mainly on TikTok because like I can't, similarly, like I can't really speak to the camera for short form. It's so weird. It's just, and I think what that shows that your advice is so good that you just kind of have to be reflective enough of where do you feel most comfortable showing your personality? Is it on something like your phone on a platform like TikTok, or is it something like a camera on
Yeah,
YouTube? It's just like, where do you feel the most yourself, and how can you like you should focus on that the
I
most. But
know.
you do both really well.
Literally, I wish I could just say, "Oh, all I care about is podcasting. All I care about is YouTube." Like, I hate TikTok. Like, I don't know why I love it all, and it makes me so upset because when it was just YouTube, it was so good.
Better for
Like,
you, yeah.
I barely had like 5,000 subscribers, and I was like, my content's fucking good because it was like all I was doing. You know what I mean?
I know,
So
but now your intros are like, I have 10 million side hustles, and I'm like, it's true, she does.
it's too much. I'm like, but thank you. You inspire me. Let's do the ending segment really quick. So,
Okay.
what is your top self care tip?
Top self care tip: get enough sleep. You can't do anything if you get enough sleep. I had to learn that the hard way. And sleeping is self care. I had to tell myself that too. So that's probably my biggest tip,
100%. I felt so burnt out all week. And I was like, what do I prioritize, squeezing in a workout or sleeping? And I realized if
right?
I stress myself out to go work out instead of getting sleep, it's going to make everything worse. So I
Hmm.
completely agree. Okay, favorite book right now.
Favorite book right now? Okay, well, my most recent book I finished was Normal People. Not my favorite, but it was really, really good. I think my favorite book is Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren.
Someone
Like I
just
said,
recommended that to me.
really?
Yeah.
It's the only book this year. I've read almost 10 books this year, and I haven't read at all since high school, since this year, until this year. And Love and Other Words made me cry. And seriously, no other book has made me cry this year. And that book is just so touching, beautiful, amazingly written. And that's definitely my favorite.
Okay, I'm gonna have to read that one. I just finished Housemaid, and I
Ooh, that's on my
I've
list.
not dabbled into like thriller other than Verity by Colleen Hoover, and I
Hmm.
loved it. It might be my new favorite
Really?
genre. I
Oh my
loved
God,
it.
really? I haven't done any thrillers at all. Maybe I'll get
You
into that next year.
Oh, Verity and Housemaid are like
Really?
the easiest reads, top notch. Yes.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Okay. Favorite podcast?
Favorite podcast besides Dare to Self Care?
Yes, obviously.
I think that probably In Bloom by Abby Aslin. I love that
Oh,
podcast
I
so
don't
much
know
just
that.
because I love Abby. She's, oh my gosh, she's also a 9 to 5 creator. She works at a big four firm, but her podcast is just chill vibes. She's either talking through like a huge tip for like 45 minutes, which I love just because I listen to podcasts on my runs, or she's talking about her monthly reset routine, or she's doing like Q&As. She's planning her wedding too. Her wedding is at the end of the year. So she talks a lot about that. And I just love that podcast only because I really love Abby so much, especially right now.
Okay, I don't know her, so I'm gonna have to now go binge all her content.
Ooh, I'll send you her.
Okay, please. Okay, wellness product you can't live without right now.
Ooh, wellness product. Wellness product I can't live without right now. I don't know.
Could be running related, sleep, reading, any of it.
Ooh. Okay, I've been on this journey to grow out my nails for all of 2023 without doing gel or dip or anything. And biotin gummies, one, taste amazing. They actually taste like pure candy, probably because of the sugar. But I do think that biotin has made a really big difference in my hair, skin, and nails. So if anyone is trying to save money going to the salon, take biotin gummies for 3 months and let me know. It will
Love
work.
it. Okay, amazing. Well, can you let everyone know where they can find you and all of your content?
Yes, you can find me on YouTube as just my name, Jenna Hong, Hong, and then on Instagram and TikTok, Jenna X Hong. That's where you can find me, and I hope to see you guys there.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.